Flame mains, it's time to rejoice. Meet Salidy, the latest addition in Tower of Fantasy that continues the trend of A. Double main DPS rotations, and B. Yet another flame character that seems to have problems that require fixing. Except this time, Salidy may just be the one that fixes things for Flame. So, with Salidy on the team, how strong is Flame and what can she do? Let us find out. Salidy is a flame physical DPS that wields a giant pair of scissors with the usual traits fusion of flame and mass, flame fist resonance, the ability to apply armor melt, and the usual shatter and charge of 16 and 14. Same old, same old. Salidy is classified as an on-field unit, applying AoE damage to nearby enemies based on your stats whenever you deploy her on-field. This arrangement brings Flame into the dual DPS conversation with Salidy, sharing an on-field partnership with Matrices and supercharged by Lana's assist attacks in the team. Her combos are fairly simple. If you're using her as a single main DPS weapon in the team, you just use her skill and do one round of powered up attacks until you see this star on the ground, then another wave of normal attacks into her powered up attacks again. In short, just use her skill and normal attack all the way until your other buffs are ready. Easy. For the meta dual DPS teams, Salidy will share the DPS load with Matrices, and you'll start off with Lana deploying her AI into Salidy using her skill and normal attacks until you see the big star on the ground, and after she does her jump and splash attack, you do one more normal attack combo into another jump and splash attack, then immediately swap into Matrices and use her skill. Then, perform Matrices attack hold attack combo into the uppercut, then immediately do another attack hold attack combo. Hold and uppercut to finish the rotation. After that, it's back to your buffers to repeat the rotation from then onwards. Simple. Now, let's talk about her skills. Salidy's main damage comes from her normal attack combos that are supercharged by her skill or by doing 4 normal attack chains. It's indicated by this buff icon down here. And how does that work? By doing 4 normal attacks, you will gain this buff to trigger her powered up attacks, or the second method, which is also the most effective one, is by using her skill. Upon casting the skill, Salidy dives underground with this circle-like effect, dealing big AoE damage to nearby targets and gaining hyper body while applying armor melt to affected targets. By using her skill, you're able to skip the 4 normal attacks into the powered up attack move. And how do you know it's powered up? When you see her doing this star effect into a jump and slamming down to the ground, that's her powered up attack. This move also applies a bleed effect that lasts 30 seconds on the target. Powerful indeed. In actual combat, you want to cast Salidy's skill to trigger her Matrices effect, which I'll talk about later, and perform her powered up attacks by just clicking the attack button and finally swapping to your buffers when their cooldowns are done. Pretty straightforward. Salidy also has a special movement skill that allows short distance teleportation like Lan and Yano. By holding down attack, you can point towards a distance, and releasing the hold, you'll toss out the scissors like a boomerang. Then, pressing your special attack button, X by default, you'll teleport to that location instantly. I'm pretty sure some people have discovered ways to utilize this jump to perfection. Salidy doesn't have any aerial attacks. Instead, using attack in the air will perform a plunge, which isn't particularly amazing or anything, and she looks kinda static while plunging from afar. Her discharge, as good as it looks, has no special effects tied to it, but for some reason, you gain a 4-second immunity to damage, probably designed for new players that do not have great survivability, as using her discharge can deal some decent damage while helping you survive when the going gets tough. Newbies, take note of that. Salidy's trait, does not offer much for DPS. Instead, it reduces stamina consumption when doing that boomerang move. For meta DPS teams, you still want to use Matrices trait if you pair her with Salidy, or even if you're not using Matrices on the team, her trait is still the best for flame teams. Unless you don't have Matrices, of course, then that may be a problem. If you're using Void Piercer on the team, you can use her trait in place of Matrices, but only if you use Void Piercer with Salidy. There aren't many good traits for flame to begin with, so pick your poison, guys. On the relic side, the preferred relic of choice would be the buff dealer at minimum 2 stars, best performance being 5 stars. Second relic would be the Battle Eye Mark II at minimum 2 stars, best performance being 5 stars. Other relics such as the rifle, mask, bubble gun are all usable if you don't have the Mark II or buff dealer. F2P players can still go with the Koan 2 stars and Omnium Shield 5 stars in place of those premium relics. Salidy's Matrices are pretty darn strong. Her 2-piece boosts a lot of flame attack, but the key buff lies in the secondary effect, which multiplies the damage of her skill by a fair bit. This secondary buff is available even at 0 stars advancement. Her 4-piece is the standard flame elemental damage buff that can be used on other flame weapons as a background effect Matrices set. Also, when you equip Salidy's weapon, you gain an additional flame elemental damage buff, but only if you have her weapon on the team. It's recommended to get at least 2-piece Salidy Matrices due to the fact that the multiplier for that skill damage is pretty huge and without it seems a bit lackluster. If resources are scarce, Salidy can perform optimally with the standard Matrices 2-piece Samir, 2-piece Cobalt B in the event you use her as a single main DPS. If pairing with the likes of Matrices, you may need to look into 4-piece background effect Matrices like Ji, Plotty or even Yin Miao Matrices, as long as it works in the background and buffs flame attack and flame damage for your team. Skyla and Habuela, even though they are free to obtain, have fallen behind a bit and will not be that great compared to other flame Matrices in the standard pool. Similar to the other elemental weapons before her, Salidy can function as main DPS or dual DPS alongside Matrices with a third unit in either Lana, Void Piercer or Carrot. The meta teams are obviously dual DPS oriented, but for those that did not get Matrices and have altered units, Salidy does ridiculously well with Lana and Void Piercer as support units. And the best thing is, it's super easy to use when compared to Matrices and her spicy combos. For free-to-plays, or those that do not have altered units, you can pair Salidy with flame buffers Liu Ho and Lan, or even Zeke as pure buffers for the team. Phaser is purely sub-DPS, so unless you have her at A6 with her Matrices, I'd say Liu Ho and Zeke might just be a better option in this case. Looking at the DPS charts, the altered flame team of Salidy, Lana and Void Piercer performs the best as of current data. By supercharging Salidy's normal attacks and giving her full attention as the on-field DPS, this team should take the top spot in all relevant content. The Salidy Matrices dual DPS team with Lana follows closely behind with Salidy, Carrot and Lana as another similar option. This is due to Matrices not being able to provide background damage and obviously her DPS is falling behind compared to Salidy's one-man show. Whether or not live server adjusts Matrices stats remains to be seen. The other altered teams like Fiona S6, Triple Flame teams are somewhat usable, but only if you don't have any of the latest units as support. Do bear in mind for Flame, only Matrices trait and Void Piercer's traits are worth using, and without them, the damage is noticeably lacking in most areas. That said, Salidy does bring Flame up by a huge margin, approximately 35% increment from the former Flame comp, and as such, she is able to surpass the Benediction team and their execution power in Bygone and Sequential Phantasm. Comparing to the other elements, Salidy's team leaps forth Veronica's Volt team by approximately 20 to 25% total damage and significantly higher than the other two elements as well. Again, this is purely based on test server stats. We'll see if live server has any further adjustments. 1-star Salidy increases her flame damage and drops the damage of targets affected by her skill and normal attacks, making this advancement a little bit of damage increment. 3-star gives you resistance threat and increases flame damage if there are more than one enemies around you, likely for crowd clearing. 5-star increases final damage and recovers your HP based on her skill damaging the targets over time. A little bit of mitigation in the grand scale of things. 6-star is your usual pure damage advancement with a lot of final damage buffs and flame damage buffs to maximize your DPS needs. Resident whales and rankers, you know what to do? Recommendations wise, Salidy is very beginner friendly and great at 0 stars. For new players that have just missed the recent altered banners, starting off with Salidy is a good way to begin your journey. However, for veteran players and those looking at performance recommendations, Salidy does need 6 stars because her 3-star, while offering resistance threat, is not that important if you already have Lana in the team. Other advancements are also not that great either. Getting a base copy with 2-piece matrices at minimum or 6-star weapon plus 4-piece set is the better recommendation for Salidy and flame mains in general. Salidy arrives at a time where we're preparing for our next generation of characters, and at the very least, her gameplay, attack patterns and rotations are a breath of relief compared to Matrices of previous, and Salidy does look decent, I would dare say. I think her A3 outfit looks neater than the base skin and definitely better compared to whatever the heck A3 Lana was. Just my opinion, guys. What do you think of Salidy? Is she worthy of your pulls, or are you waiting to see what the next character has in store for us? Let me know in the comments below and I'll see y'all in the next one.